July. Let's talk about it all right now with Reince Priebus, the chairman of the Republican National Committee. Mr. Chairman, it is good to have you on the program this morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Maria.
Can you lay out the road ahead for us? Tell us what an open convention may look like. Do you expect we would get an open convention, and what are the scenarios that could lead to that?
Okay. Well, first of all, at the RNC, we're preparing for any scenario, so we'll be ready. We've got candidates that have a pathway to getting to the majority of delegates before Cleveland. But if that doesn't happen, obviously we'll be prepared to run the most open and transparent open convention in the history of our party. Obviously, it doesn't happen very often, so we're getting ready, and we're getting ready for any possibility, Maria.
So you think anything can happen? I mean, you know, you speak to the Cruz campaign, and they think they have a real road to the nomination. They feel that if he does well in Utah, in Arizona, which they say he is doing well, that he may very well get the delegates needed. You think that actually is a possibility?
Well, I mean, it is a possibility, and it's a possibility that another candidate can get to the majority before the convention, and Donald Trump. It's possible that Ted Cruz can get to the majority before the convention, and it's also possible, I would imagine, that a number of scenarios could happen at the convention. But look, our job is to make sure that we take the mystery out of what an open convention would look like if we should go that direction. And I'm trying very hard to make sure people understand that a majority of delegates, empowered by the votes in the states, choose the nominee of our party, and there's nothing nefarious about that.
What do you say about all of this violence that now is breaking out? I mean, you look at what happened over the weekend at Trump rallies, and, you know, Donald Trump's camp is going to say, look, this is not us. We are simply having our rallies. We have the opportunity to have free speech, and yet, you know, these groups like Black Lives Matter are coming, creating all of this violence. Do you attribute the violence to Donald Trump?
Well, listen, I think that there's plenty of blame to go around, but certainly you do have people that are coming into these events seeking to make a statement, and people shouldn't react with violence. I mean, so obviously violence begets violence, right? And so we don't condone violence. I don't think anyone involved condones violence. I think the temperature should be ratcheted down. But I also think some of these things should be left up to law enforcement. You know, people shouldn't take, you know, to their own hands resolving these differences. I think that people should respect the law. I think law enforcement should do their job, which they are. And, you know, I think that's where we should leave it. But violence is not the answer. Violence is not something that our party condones, and I don't think anyone involved condones violence. So, no, I think it should end, but I also think people should kind of reflect a little bit and take the temperature down.
And take their responsibility for it as those see fit. Let me ask you about the GOP backlash against Donald Trump, or some Republicans anyway. I mean, do you worry that there is going to be, some, underline some. Do you worry that there is going to be some backlash against a portion of the Republican Party, given this, this pushback on Donald Trump? I mean, look at Mitt Romney posting on Facebook this weekend. He said, in the Utah nominating caucus, I will vote for Senator Ted Cruz. Today, there is a contest between Trumpism and Republicanism. Through the calculated statements of its leaders, Trumpism has become associated with racism, misogyny, bigotry, vulgarity, most recently threats and violence. I am repulsed by each and every one of these. So he's obviously come out real strong. Do you worry that people are going to say, look, Donald Trump is resonating with 35 to 40% of the Republican people. He's obviously touching something. He's resonating with people. You are ignoring the will of the people if you push back.
Well, I mean, obviously Mitt has a slight opinion on the matter. That goes without saying. And he has a right to an opinion. And just like anyone involved has a right to an opinion, and that's the process that we're going through, Maria. And no one's disenfranchising anybody. The fact is that delegates are empowered by the outcomes of these elections in the states. So depending on how well you do in the states, it'll have a direct reflection on how many delegates you have at the convention. And so when you have a close contest like this, or a heated contest that's got a lot of drama and a lot of intrigue, obviously emotions run high. But ultimately what the goal here is to defeat Hillary Clinton, who might be indicted, whose image is in the ditch by the American people that don't trust her. So that's what's important. You know, Supreme Court seats are important. Passing a budget that Paul Ryan and Tom Price have put together, that's what's important. So saving our country is what's important. So all of this comes together, and it's our job at the RNC, and it's my job in particular, and it's obviously not easy, but you've got to get to a place where you have an open and honest and clear process, so even if it means an open convention, so that when people come together through Cleveland, they can at least say, look, it was straight, it was honest, and this was the outcome that we had, and it's now time to come together and defeat Hillary Clinton. That's what has to happen.
That's absolutely right. And when you look at voter count, people actually coming out, it's very exciting on the Republican side versus voter output down on the Democratic side. You also look at the fundraising dollars, right? The Republican National Committee had a very good month in February, raising $11.5 million. Cycle raised to $126.4 million to date. Tell us about this money, what a good month you've had, and where this money goes. How's that allocated?
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, people are so interested in the presidential game, which is, I know it's where a lot of the fun is at, but the truth is we're so much better than we were 4 years ago. We didn't have a program 4 years ago that made a lot of our folks proud because we didn't have the ability, without getting into the details of that, for years earlier. But the truth is we've got thousands of people on the ground. We're so much better in our data and turnout operation. We're so much better than the DNC. We're out raising them every single month, whether it be major dollar donors or people who just write a $50 or $20 check. We're doing better than the DNC, and if the very least, I know it's not the fun stuff, but on the mechanics and the ground game, the things that a good national party ought to do, people out there would be proud of where we're at. Whether you're for Trump, whether you're for Cruz, whether you're for Kasich, you need a national party that has its act together, and that's where we're at. And then we need to take this to the convention, continue to do a good job, and make sure people understand that there's nothing mysterious about having a vote on the floor of a convention and saying, look, the majority of delegates are going to decide the nominee. And we may not get there. You know, we have candidates that could get to that number before Cleveland. So, look, we're talking right now, and we're doing our best to explain the process to everybody. Yeah, I think you make a really great point, and very well said. It's going to be an exciting run. Reince Priebus, good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you, Maria. We'll see you soon. The chairman of the Republican National Committee. Tomorrow